Welcome to the Pull Podcast. I am your host, Big Jack. Today with us, we have Raanan Hershberg.
To be here. Thanks for having me.
Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yeah, you can pronounce it. It's like, it goes either way. Raanan. Yeah.
I think I saw a podcast where you corrected a guy once, so I want to make sure I'm being respectful.
No, that's it. I try not to correct people. People usually want to know.
Yeah.
Like, people are very like, I got to get this right. I don't want to get canceled or whatever. I don't want to mispronounce. I don't want to,
What's the two A's all about, right?
Yeah, but it's honestly could go either way because it's Hebrew and it's a guttural sound like Raanan, but there is no guttural sound in English.
Right.
So in English, you could say Raanan, but that's a little weird. So you can also just say Raanan. So I'm open with both interpretations, which people hate that I give them options.
Well, as long as I don't offend you, that's the only thing I'm worried
Not
about.
Not at all.
Great. Well, I don't think I'll have any issues going forward, but it's a pleasure to have you here.
Oh, thanks for having
me.
me
So much.
It's awesome.
So obviously, most people are going to know who you are that are watching the podcast, but to give you a little background, we deal with real stories, raw struggles, and powerful comebacks.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
we're an addiction-based podcast and we try to bring hope to people, but we're also a wellness and just lifestyle type podcast. We have a variety of guests. And so obviously when I've heard you speak on other podcasts, you talk about some of your addictions. You've been open about that on your platform, which, listen, I appreciate. It's the whole reason why we're doing what we're doing.
Right.
At the end of the day, anybody that can use their platform to hopefully promote better choices for people or even show that you don't need that stuff in order to be successful or happy in life, that's really what we're all about.
No, that's great. Yeah, I mean, I'm an open book with that stuff. So
yeah,
as with everything.
So I'm curious, and so if for the people that may not have know you so well, if you don't mind, would you just give us a little bit of your background and sort of? I mean, obviously you're a comedian on the circuit and well known and doing big podcasts. You're still up and coming. You're going to only get more famous, it seems like.
Yeah, I'm still up and coming. I'm 41, so not in my life, but in my career, I'm up and coming.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I started in Louisville, Kentucky, where I also started my drug career. They kind of go hand in hand in the beginning.
Yeah.
But I'll do the comedy first, and we'll go to the drug resume.
Please. I imagine that had something to do with the fueling of it.
Yeah. Well, I feel like most people start comedy at their rock bottom. That's kind of like, I don't know. It's a good rock bottom career.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. You choose it when you're under the influence, right?
Yeah. And you don't have other options, You ever see Raging Bull?
I have. It's been a long time, but Robert De Niro?
Yeah. The funniest part of that movie is at the end, it's like his rock bottom and he gets really overweight. He ends up having sex with an underage child, goes to jail. And then the final rock bottom is he starts doing stand-up comedy. That's like the ultimate... like that was after jail. He starts doing comedy. So
and so there's a common theme there. That seems to be a powerful choice right there at rock bottom.
Yeah. So, well, I'll go a little before that to kind of show how drugs and alcohol played a big part in me starting comedy, but then also I only really got good once I kind of stopped doing those things or got better. But I went to New York for like screenwriting and stuff. Screenwriting like school. Yep. And then after I moved to New York, and around this time I got pretty into like cocaine and drinking, and eventually I went broke, went back to Louisville, and it was in Louisville where I started doing stand-up. I had open mics at this club called the Comedy Caravan.
Nice.
Which is now still there, but they took out the word comedy, which is hilarious. It's now just called the Caravan. Okay. They're like, it's false advertising having comedy in there. So it's not just the Caravan.
Gotcha.
And that's where I think when I first started comedy, I was pretty much drunk all the time.
Uh-huh.
And I wanted, I think I'm not blaming him, but Doug Stanhope?
The name sounds familiar.
Doug Stanhope is a brilliant comedian who is a drunk comedian, but he's a great comedian. And for some people,
that works.
That works.
Ron White for a long time.
Yes. It doesn't work for your health, but it can work for your comedy. And that's just the truth. It really is. It doesn't work for me. I became a much better comedian
afterwards.
But and the same is true for Bill Hicks, one of my heroes, who was also kind of became good once he stopped drinking.
Sure.
But for years, I wanted to be Doug Stanhope. And I just wanted to be drunk and vulgar and abrasive. And I go on stage every night drunk. And there were shows I don't even remember sometimes. I remember one time, I don't remember it, but I guess I got drunk and took Xanax. And then the next day, someone was like, "That's crazy. I went on stage and took off your shirt and started." And this was before Bert Kreischer. I'm a game.
Now he just I don't know. I don't understand that part of the act.
I was being drunk without a shirt years before he was.
Sure,
but
you're a trailblazer.
Yeah, exactly, trailblazer. But so that's how I started. That's how I started comedy, like kind of like just being a drunken mess.
Well, listen, if that's who you were idolizing to some degree, that's what you're going to present, right? I mean,
yes.
Ultimately, right? And as long as it wasn't, at this point, it didn't have any consequences or anything, right?
It didn't have any consequences. I mean, not like anything too big. And I think really, there's probably like for me, alcohol came from a place of like being an artist. It was like a lifestyle,
Yeah.
I connected it with the art. So that's what's kind of interesting. It's like, and I think that's true for a lot of people, or at least in the arts, you get into it, there's a romantic view.
Of course.
A lot of the people I love, not just Doug Stanhope, but writers like Charles Bukowski, who are like drunk all the time, or Hunter S. Thompson.
Hunter S. Thompson,
yeah,
is a big one.
So these people made it look easy. You know what I mean? And you connect the two. Mm-hmm. Now, what I never realized at the time is, A, it works for other people better than others. B, Hunter S. Thompson was a great writer, but his output might have been a little shortened by that, you know what I mean? As with a lot of people, And
a little weird.
To me, being sober felt square, And it took a long time to kind of exercise the Doug Stanhope demons. And I think Doug Stanhope is still great. I love him, but it was a bad influence on me.
Yeah.
I thought that's how you do comedy.
Sure, but you were young and influential, right?
Yes.
I mean, like,
impressionable. Yeah.
Impressionable, that's a better word.
And I think a lot of comics, I don't know how it is now. I think now everyone's such a nerd on social media that I don't think there's as much, I don't know if there's as much self-destructiveness in comedy now as there was. Because in comedy now, it's so like just learning social media and algorithms. I feel like people are like the opposite. They're like straight edge or something,
Well, I've noticed a trend too, right? I think it may just be the times, but there's just a trend going around of being sober and being healthy right now.
Yes.
Coming out of COVID, I feel like everybody probably took a couple of years off of whatever their routine was.
Yes.
And now all of a sudden everybody has to look in the mirror again and they're like, I should probably do something about this.
And it's also harder to be a comic now than it used to be.
Oh, absolutely.
Like in the 80s, you could have just a very manageable coke habit and just 5 minutes of material and you were good.
Yep.
You were good.
Yeah.
Like you could just do that everywhere and just be on coke. It's very hard to do that and comedy at the same time now.
Nowadays.
So yeah. But at the time I was kind of like, it was intertwined. The drinking. I remember a funny, ironic or something. I had bought all these books of these writers I love, and most of them were like drunks, like Bukowski or Hemingway.
Yep.
And eventually, I had a whole collection of these books, and eventually I sold them to get money for drugs. So the writers—
That is ironic.
So the writers who influenced me, I eventually sold their stuff.
But for a while there, you could say I had many leather-bound books.
Yes, exactly. And when I got sober, I actually ordered all those books again. Yeah, and I have them on my bookshelf now.
That's great.
And I had to reorder all of them because I sold them all. I didn't just sell them all. I was living at my parents' place. I sold all their books too.
Nice. So it was a real drug habit.
Yeah, it got to be. I think for me, what happened is I was doing comedy. I was drinking in New York early on. I was into cocaine, but eventually I got hooked on painkillers. I think it was around the time I was taking care of my grandpa at home. And when you're the sibling with nothing going on always becomes a caretaker. Mm-hmm. The loser sibling always is the one who ends up taking care of the—
I get it.
Yeah.
I've been there.
That's how it happens, right? Oh, they got nothing to do. But then suddenly, all of a sudden, they're of great importance. They're essential.
Yeah, they can actually do something.
Yeah, because they're still living at home.
Yeah, it allows other people to do the rest of their life.
Yeah, exactly. So you come in handy in a big way. But I was taking care of my grandpa who was older and I think in his 90s. And my dad also had cancer, though he's doing good now, but he had cancer. And I remember somewhere in the time of taking care of them, I started getting hooked on their painkillers.
Oh, they probably had a plethora of them.
Plethora. And I mean, to this day, I think my dad has— I don't know if he still has it, but there's a bottle of oxycodone that's filled with Tylenol.
Oh, yeah. That he doesn't know about yet.
That he doesn't know about.
Yeah. Because you had to replace it with something.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. This segment of the Pull Podcast is brought to you by Heartwood Home Detox.
So I got really hooked on painkillers, and I love them. I never. I don't know if that's bad to say.
No. It's. Listen. I love drinking. If I could have done it without any consequences, I probably would have continued. Right?
Yeah. I really love them. I never understood. People always say drugs make you numb. It didn't feel numb to me. It felt like it gave me a certain kind of euphoria, passion,
elation.
You know? Yeah. So the numbness part I never got, and I guess it does make you numb on some level emotionally, but it doesn't feel numb at the time. You know?
No, because it sounds like you were doing it when you were going to either work or go up to do a show or something. I guess it probably would. Maybe it gets worse when you're just doing it at home alone when there's nothing going on. Yeah,
but it was always like, I guess I never the numbness part. I'd never fully like. It always felt like almost like suddenly felt passionate and alive.
Sure,
that's what it felt like. I think I was numb in a way to like actual human interactions.
Yeah, and feelings
and the chaos of life.
Yep.
Because that's what I think was ultimately what drugs gave me at the time when I was on painkillers was a sense of controlling my emotions and the fear that off of drugs, you can feel anything at any time. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's scary.
It is.
You can be depressed one day. You can be,
manic the next.
But with drugs, the idea of taking a pill that tells you how you're going to feel was very exciting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I love the way you put that.
Yeah, it was this control. Thank you. It was this control, knowing how you can finally like control this chaos of emotions.
Yeah.
Having control. I remember when I steal my grandpa's painkillers, just looking at the pill was so exciting. It's actually more exciting
than doing, yeah.
Sometimes,
the anticipation.
It's kind of like when you hook up with someone, right? Like that's usually the excitement is better than the sex.
Yep.
Not to say but the anticipation was quite good.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like foreplay with drugs.
Yeah, exactly. Just looking at that pill, the pill bottle, it's exciting, you know?
Yeah.
If I saw a pill bottle today, I'd still get excited if I saw, hydrocodone
just
or oxycodone. Yeah, those pills, And I remember, this is a somewhat sad story, but I remember my grandpa ended up so I took his painkillers, I replaced them, which I felt bad about. I think one time he fell.
He's like, this shit isn't working.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think one time he fell and he took maybe some of those Tylenol and it, and that definitely makes you feel bad. But then you just do more painkillers.
Yeah, and then forget all about it.
Yeah. You ever see Train Spotting?
Exactly.
Right? Where the baby dies, so they just do more heroin.
Just more heroin.
Yeah. And I remember he got, and I do think taking care of him, and my dad, when he was sick, he had a lot of taking care of both of them. I do think that plays a part, which I think with a lot of addictions sometimes stem from caretaking the elderly or, people sick.
It does. Well, it gives you the access to some high-powered shit.
It's the combination of the access and also facing your mortality and, not wanting to face it.
There
right?
it is, right?
It's kind of the perfect
super uncomfortable feelings, ideal solution, essentially.
It's like coffee that makes you take a shit right away. It's like, here's the mortality and then here's the solution.
That's it.
Yeah. So... And I know a lot of people go through that.
I've heard the story a million times.
Yeah. I mean, I remember a couple of times my grandpa, like I'd help him to the bathroom, but sometimes he wouldn't make it on time. And he'd close the door and he wouldn't let me in. And then by the time he let me in, there'd be shit up, everywhere. And you take a painkiller and sometimes it's no longer depressing.
It's not a big deal anymore all of a sudden.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Painkillers actually made everything very beautiful, even sad things. It made your loneliness beautiful, So... I remember when I used to be on painkillers, I remember thinking it really to describe it, I would say like it makes you want to hug. I could hug Hitler if I was on it. You know what I mean?
Wow.
But so
that's how powerful it is, though, right? I mean, that's really that's how I take that comment, right? Which is like,
of course, and
I get
it's not about me being pro Hitler.
It's embarrassing to admit this. Yeah, of course not. I don't think hopefully nobody is. I remember something, just relating to that. My mother told me you would step over my dead body for a drink. And like my thought was at first like, no way. And then honestly, like, I'd be like, well, I would be sad because you're dead. And so,
But then I
like,
just drink more. Yeah.
Like, so she was right. you know?
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, and like, it does, for whatever reason, allow that control of the emotions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just love the way you put that.
Well, that's the thing, the control. I think that's the thing, like to not be able to like go into the mystery of life is so many different. It's control as opposed to like emotions constantly changing. Like with sobriety, your emotions are changing
every second.
And that sea of stuff is, that sea of stuff is reality. And it's scary and it's not always great. And you have moments of joy, but you also have a lot of moments of sadness.
Sure.
And it's, it can be exhausting. So it's tempting to,
numb out. Or, yeah, I guess
it's numbing.
It's just a phrase they use, but I think we all know what we're talking about.
But I do think it's all, in a way, a bad phrase sometimes because it is numbing out, but it doesn't feel like numbing out.
I get what you're saying.
Right? It's the same issue I have with a lot of drug movies. I think drug movies often are bad because they don't show the enjoyment of drugs. So it makes no sense. You're not really getting into the subjective experience. Like, I'm not a fan of the Requiem for Dreams or the ones that just seem to be so focused on the horror.
Sure.
I mean, I'm not saying ignore the horror, but you can't tell the whole story unless you tell the good feelings it gives you.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, for a long time, that's half the reason people continue to use is because it is a solution for people. Right?
Yeah, it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
And like, I think a lot of movies don't address that. Yeah. And then you look at those people who are like, well, I'm feeling good right now, I think Drugstore Cowboy, I don't know if you've seen that, but that does a very good job of showing the euphoria. I mean, it's obviously a lot of horrible things happen in it, but it's a mixture. You got to show the euphoria and then it getting bad.
Yeah, is that the one with the cocaine in the 80s in Florida?
No, it's the one with they like steal from painkillers at pharmacies. It's just Matt Dillon.
Oh, you gotcha. Yeah. I got it mixed up.
Yeah, so I was doing painkillers, and then my grandpa actually went to the hospital, and he was actually like looked like he might not make it. And I remember, I was feeling really bad. I remember like my mom was there and she was crying and she was like reading from some Jewish prayer, hoping he was going to make it. And I remember I like prayed to God there. I was like, I need to stop with these drugs, and I'm like, if my grandpa makes it through, I'll just stop with all this, have a more of a, Wow. I felt like my life was I felt like, especially seeing my mom praying with this prayer book, I felt like and my grandpa was very religious Jew. So I felt like I had broken free from Judaism, but not really replaced it with anything. And that led to like
in
religion.
A lot of ways, you're worshiping something else.
Yeah. You're worshiping something else. Yes. And, but I realized like, what's the point of breaking free from whatever, if you have an issue with religion, what's the point of breaking free from it if you're just going to fill it with drugs? You
right.
know what I mean?
No point.
So I remember I made a pact with God. I'm like, if he makes it through, I'll quit doing drugs or painkillers. And then he made it through the next day. Like he had to do a surgery. That was, a little life and death. So he made it through. And I was like, oh, fuck. What the hell did I just do?
And
then we went back and I was like really upset about this pact I made. But then we got a call from the hospital that he actually wasn't going to make it.
Oh.
And, there was maybe a little relief,
I get
I was like, well,
now you have an excuse.
Yeah. And I remember like I went to the hospital. I watched him kind of die. And I remember there was like painkillers at home still. And I wanted to get to them. I was on painkillers at the hospital.
Of course.
So I saw him die on painkillers. So I wasn't really experiencing it in a real way.
You couldn't even grieve properly. Yeah.
No. In my head, I'm like, oh, this is beautiful. This is life, this is death.
You get to say goodbye at this last breath.
But I remember I rushed out of there to refill the painkillers at home.
Yeah, of course.
Because I knew she was going to throw them out, So I remember coming back home and like refilling the painkillers. And I remember it was very sad. I remember my mom always throws stuff away like very quickly. And I remember my grandpa had like Velcro shoes. And which is always depressing, old people's Velcro shoes. But I remember when I got home.
I'd rock a pair today. They just got to make them look stylish.
I actually have these now where it doesn't have, it's just like the boat shoes. I love it because like I hate tying my shoes.
No, I wear slip-ons too.
But this way I don't look, like I'm touched. But
like you got some of the tism?
Yeah. But But so I remember I went home, and after I got switched them out, I went in the kitchen. I remember my mom had thrown his Velcro shoes at the garbage can
already.
And it's just such a depressing image,
Yeah.
Just like Velcro shoes are sad on their own, but then in the garbage can. Yeah. But I think
that belonged to somebody who's no longer with us.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So after that, I still did painkillers, and then I started doing Adderall, and I was like, you know what? I'll just switch to Adderall.
That's weird because they have different effects.
They do.
But you're also in the scene where you need to be up late at night too, right?
It was that. It was also writing. Adderall, I had done Adderall in college, and I guess I still did. I'm not saying like I didn't do Adderall in this time, but painkillers were my main focus. Mm-hmm. But I remember thinking like, I was like, I got to get out of painkillers because that's just like, I don't know. There's no work being done. And Adderall is productive.
Too much work being done.
Yeah, but I like that.
Yeah,
like I love Adderall. Like that's the drug I really miss.
Because you get access to your whole brain.
Your whole brain, and that's where the energy is. And even with the painkillers, I would still write on it and create. Like I actually did. For me, drugs was about feeling this energy to write and also shut out the world. You know what I mean? So with Adderall, I started doing Adderall and kind of moving out of painkillers, which was like, it's a different drug, but I think just having a drug makes it easy to switch. Yeah.
The control.
You have the control still. So it made it an easy switch.
I'm seeing the trend here. Yeah.
Yeah. But in my head, I'm like, well, I'm getting better. I'm moving off painkillers to Adderall.
No, that's how you justify things. Yeah, absolutely. I know that thought.
And it was it's FDA approved, or I guess they both are. But
right. So they're prescription, so that it's not really a drug, right? I didn't get it off the street. So your brain is going to tell you anything. I call it the best used car salesman on the planet. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like it'll get you to buy anything,
Yeah, exactly. And it did help thinking like, well, they give it to kids, and I never did like fentanyl or anything. So I always had this, what do you call it? This like, well, I'm not a junkie. I'm just,
you're not the guys on the street.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I remember I started doing Adderall, and I would love it. I just kind of like shut out the world and just write. Adderall made me so confident I wrote poetry. That's how confident it made me.
Let me guess, you're not really a poet?
No.
I would love it if you had a poem on you somewhere in your phone right now.
I actually have some. But I love writing on Adderall, and I love shutting out everyone else.
Yeah.
Really loved it. I saw people as an interruption.
Well, I mean, listen, addiction is a very selfish and self-centered disease anyway.
Yeah,
You're like, leave me alone. I'm doing my thing.
Doing your thing. And I was just excited about my creative ideas. Yeah. So it's just this narcissistic.
Well, it's like tapping into this thing that you had just found almost, right?
Yeah. And I
found with full access.
Yes. And I loved it. I really loved Adderall. I was living at home still. I would I remember I'd take like an Adderall, drink like a couple of like Red Bulls, walk around, chain smoke. I would chain smoke on Adderall. You know? I loved it. And I remember I went to a therapist at one point because I was thinking the Adderall addiction was bad. I went to a psychiatrist. I was not trying to score Adderall. I literally said like, there's a problem. And she said, well, we can prescribe it for you.
You're like, well, I don't know what kind of psychiatrist would do that at that point.
Back then, they were really...
they get real liberal with the scripts, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, I literally told her I had a problem with it, and we're like, well, we'll just prescribe it to you, and then it'll no longer be a problem.
Yeah. It sounds like she thought the problem was that you didn't have proper access to it.
Yeah.
Which is just weird in itself.
But then I was like, okay, sure. Because, I mean, I do have ADD. That's what makes it a little complicated. I have a little ADD, but I also have addictive personality.
Yep.
And that's the hardest. With drugs, I really think, I mean, it's hard for everyone, but I really think when you if you have back pain and you get addicted to painkillers, or you really do have ADD, and it just sucks when there are things that it helps.
That would help, but then technically you shouldn't be doing it because you're just going to overdo it.
Yeah, exactly. But thinking it helps makes it so much easier to be in denial. I mean, I got it prescribed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
So how long were you on it?
So this is, I'm kind of gearing up to my rock bottom. I had a interesting rock bottom.
Yeah.
I got prescribed it. I was taking about 90, I think I was taking like 90 milligrams a day.
Oh my God. How did you sleep?
I think I also took like Xanax or something to sleep, maybe.
Oh, jeez.
Chasing the side effects, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
But I remember I got Adderall. I loved it.
And if 40's good, then 80's better.
Yeah. And then I got like Vyvanse, which I actually also really liked. It's more like out throughout the day.
Yeah.
But I really liked it. And I think I was doing like 150 milligrams.
There's supposed to be a ceiling effect on that stuff, I thought.
Yeah,
like you could only metabolize a certain amount. I think it's supposed to be
that way.
Yeah, I'll bet. Maybe that's a different one I'm thinking of.
No, but you might be right. Someone told me,
or something. I think is another
someone
one.
told me Vyvanse like there's a cap, but I never felt it.
Well, the idea is that like you couldn't snort it because it's not like a straight amphetamine. It has to be like digested.
And I actually like that. I mean, this is where maybe I'm a little more. I'm still a drug addict, but I liked it a little more spaced out.
Sure.
But I also like the Adderall. I remember I loved like taking a Vyvanse and a painkiller, and then it was like kind of like a nerdy speedball. Yeah.
A nerdy speedball.
I really like doing that, and I think I really annoyed people a lot. I talked nonstop,
of course,
and I already talk a lot, so it's a problem.
But you're funny, so it's fun for a while.
Yeah. I have a bit now I do about how I had a girlfriend once who. She was like mad I was doing so much Adderall because I just talked about myself nonstop. And eventually I quit. And then we're hanging out one night. And at one point she said, so I guess it's not the Adderall.
You just talk a lot?
Yeah. And are narcissistic. But
and are narcissistic.
In the quiet hills of Marin County, there's a place where healing begins. A place where alcohol or drugs no longer control your life. At Live Oaks Wellness, we offer compassionate, client-centered care for those struggling with addiction. Our licensed drug and alcohol detox and residential programs are designed to help you take the first step toward recovery with a team that truly understands the journey. You don't have to walk this path alone. At Live Oaks, we're here to help you rebuild, restore, and reclaim your life. Take the first step today. Live Oaks Wellness. Healing starts here.
So I was doing the Vyvanse or the Adderall. I think it was Vyvanse at this point. I was running out. I had a prescription, but I was running out.
Yeah.
So I was buying it on the street. This one guy I bought like regular Adderall from. And then one day, at this time, I was working as a Hallmark, a greeter, not for Walmart, but for, I did a bit about this and I changed it to Walmart. It's tough with the stand-up because you change stuff and then you forget the original thing.
It's okay.
But it was H&R Block.
So you just opened doors for people?
I just opened doors for people. Yeah. I just said hello.
Yeah. Needed a paycheck.
It was
now that the caretaking days are behind you?
Yeah. I'm trying to buy it off the street a lot because I keep running out. This is the problem. First you get the prescription.
Yep.
And that works
then
for a
you
while.
Get the dependence.
Then you get the dependence, but then you run out on the prescription.
Of course. And you can only refill it a certain amount of times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And sometimes I remember, my sister still says that, like, if I couldn't get it refilled, I'd be so mean and, like, so angry.
You might be dead.
Yeah.
Right? Like, honestly. Like, I know that's true for a lot of people listening, probably.
But I had a really, like, I got such in a bad mood, you know? That's why I always thought, like, it's really, the problem, at the time, I was like, the problem isn't drugs. The problem is getting off drugs because you're a terrible mood when you get off them. Absolutely. So I was like, in my head, I'm like, well, that's the problem, not the drugs.
You're fine when you're on drugs. You just talk a lot.
So I just convinced myself. I was like, oh, no. The problem is, it's only really bad when you're not on them. You know,
that sounds like addiction. That sounds very familiar.
So one day I'm like walking around the street and I run into like a friend of mine who I bought drugs from a lot, a guy who's kind of like, you know, not a great character, shady guy. And I was like saying, I'm looking for Adderall. And he said, well, he had this synthetic thing that like his uncle made.
Oh boy. Did it involve Sudafed?
I didn't even ask, but he said it was like Adderall. And I bought it. And I think I parachuted it or something. I don't know, where you put it in like, was that the one I parachuted where you put it in like a bag and like swallow? I forget what it's called, the term, but
wow, you're teaching me something today.
Yeah, I forget the term now.
I know what boofing it is.
What's that?
When you put it in your ass.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Apparently, it's a super high. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, it's like a good place for it the high to start, right?
Yeah, to get into the bloodstream.
But I took it and I went to work at H&R Block. And like suddenly
Kicked in at the wrong time.
it kicked in so bad. And I was just like convinced I was going to die. I don't know what it exactly was. I later found out it was some form of bath salts, but I don't exactly know. It led to like kind of like maybe just a panic attack that was so intense that it was like borderline crazy.
You don't think it could have been methamphetamines?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I actually don't fully know, but
I mean, most of the time people don't ingest that stuff anyway, but I guess nowadays with press pills, I mean, that shit's, I mean, meth and everything else, it's all in everything.
I don't really know. I remember I thought a nurse, I'm leading to the spoiler alert, but I thought I was going insane. Like the world just seemed completely, I remember I called my twin sister and I was like, I'm about to die. It was nice knowing you. And then I hung up.
Jesus.
And I was freaking out and I ran out of the store. And I remember I was on the street like yelling. Like I think it was like a mixture of like a mental break or like mixed with a panic. But I remember I was like yelling on the street. And I remember like a parent with a kid like telling them to just like stay away from me. I remember like being like, oh, I'm a crazy person right now.
Oh boy.
And the ambulance came and my heart rate was at like something
200.
crazy. Yeah, something like that. I think maybe 880.
Yeah. Wow.
And then I get, and they're like, what did you take? And I'm like, I don't know.
Something.
It's like my friend's uncle made it a basement. I was like, do you know this guy's uncle? And I remember I got to the hospital. They gave me Valium.
Yep.
See, there's always another drug.
That's the thing, right?
But I actually didn't need it at that point.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
And I remember that was good. That brought my heart rate down. And then at the hospital, I got, I guess what happens is, well, you know, when you go in for like some kind of drug thing, there's always they give you some brochure or something. I can't remember what, but a nurse definitely talked to me about doing outpatient. And my parents at that point realized I had been really addicted. They knew I was on Adderall, but they didn't realize how
you were
bad
hiding it pretty well then. Or they didn't see you as...
I was hiding it. I think everyone was like annoyed by me because I just talked nonstop a lot, but I don't think that people realized.
Well, like you said, you like to shut out the world when you're on it.
Yeah.
So you were downstairs writing, so nobody's bothering you.
Yeah. And also, I mean, I talked to a friend once who's sober from painkillers, and he always said, like, no one really noticed. Like, you can actually be an addict and have people not notice. So I guess if you're in denial and you're like, well, no one notices, so it must not be a problem, that actually isn't always true. Like, you can fake it pretty well.
It's progressive, right? And like, it usually at some point comes out.
Well, it definitely came out when I was screaming outside the mall.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the mom and the kid at that point would say that it's now noticeable.
It is noticeable eventually.
Yeah.
You're right. So I take that back.
But no, you're right. Like up until the point of parachuting that, people would have thought that you seem somewhat fine.
Yeah, I just, for any of your listeners or anyone who has, drug addiction is a form of denial and delusion.
Absolutely.
And one of the delusions one can have is like, well, I'm not as bad as other people, or it's not affecting me, you know?
The amount of things that our brain will tell us to continue to do what we're doing is unfathomable.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the nature of the brain. The brain is delusional. The brain often just, you kind of do what you want to do, and then the brain
does what it wants to do
and explains why you did it after you just went, or justifies it.
Rationalizes, all that. Yeah.
But so I started doing outpatient rehab for Adderall.
Okay.
Which is embarrassing. Everyone else in there was for,
well, this is your first time. So yeah, the embarrassment and the shame and all that's really heavy in there, right?
Yeah. And then just everyone's like addicted, on heroin and stuff. I felt a little.
Well, it's very common. I mean, what year was this? Do you remember?
It must have been, I bet it was probably like 12 or 13 years ago. Maybe. I'm very bad with time, but
there's a trend for sure, right? And especially with fentanyl right now, I would say the people in treatment these days, 50% of them are heroin or opiate addicts.
I feel like it was a lot of heroin.
Yeah.
I know like the opiates, the opiate epidemic, kind of the heroin epidemic came a little more after that, right?
No, it's around that time is when people started like noticing. I don't remember the exact years, but you get put on a prescription of Oxy coming out of a surgery or something, and then all of a sudden you're addicted to it, and then you can't find it, and they won't prescribe it, so you go to heroin.
Right.
It's like this process that people are always like, I would never think to get heroin off the street, except it was pure necessity because it's cheaper.
Right. That's a great point. Like you can make that decision. Like I'll just do this FDA approved drug.
Yeah.
But then you're just waiting to a situation when you're going through withdrawal, and then you will make that choice.
And every time I hear it, people are always saying like, I would have never done heroin except the fact that they needed something because they were getting sick.
That's interesting. Yeah. Cause I always did. I'm not like, I am afraid to die. And I did like to think,
You wanted to live.
yeah. And I did like to think, well, I'm not a heroin addict. Those people are don't care about dying. But obviously they do, you know, and that's a perfect situation where you're like, well, I'm just doing the amount, but now I have to do it because I'm so sick. So
That's a lot of people's story. I mean,
yeah, so they're not, and I could have died. And maybe if you found out I died, you'd think, oh, he wasn't afraid to die.
I mean, your heart could have blown up at 180 beats per minute. Like, I don't know how long that goes for before you just blow up.
Right. So I guess most people who die of drugs were probably also just as afraid of death as anyone else.
I mean, I would like to think so. I hope it's not natural for somebody to want to die. You know, I mean, certainly, you know, there are situations and circumstances that people find themselves in which make that seem like an option. But
well, the heroin, I always like, it does, I'm like, the risk of heroin. I mean, obviously I took
no, it's Russian roulette, especially these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's no such thing as pure heroin these days.
Right. And then people have those test strips, and I'm like, that's a weird thing with test strips, because like, what if it says positive and you're like, oh, I could have died just then? That seems too close to death for me.
I agree. But see, here's the thing is you're also not currently addicted.
Right.
They see it as as probably not as much of a risk. The risk might still be there. However, the need to use something because they're getting ill physically, right? Their body's going through something, then it's very easy to rationalize it.
And you can die from withdrawal, I assume, right? Obviously.
Not heroin.
But alcohol.
It feels like you're going to die, but
right.
you won't. Alcohol for
alcohol
sure. I mean, you can
from.
see, and same with benzo, so
and
Xanax and all that.
Yeah.
We are in the midst of the worst drug crisis in U.S. history.
The CDC has named fentanyl, deadliest drug in the United States.
The drug is fentanyl.
My name is Jeremy, and I'm a recovering fentanyl addict. I've overdosed more times than I can count. I believe I was revived so I could carry the message to the addict that still suffers. Silence makes you complicit. You either recover loudly or you die quietly. I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to help you save your own life.
Learn more at recoverordie.org.
So is this your bottom then?
This is my bottom.
So you find
I feel
yourself
embarrassed. It's not. I mean, it's a bottom. It's not like that's
that's
pretty good.
There's
right?
there's plenty of bottoms that are a lot higher than that one. You know, there's plenty of country club mothers that drink 2 bottles of wine a day and they crash their Mercedes and that was their bottom.
Yeah.
It's all relative.
Yeah, it is
honestly,
all relative.
and I don't mean anything.
That's an important thing to remember.
I don't mean any disrespect to anybody that's listening that might have a bottom that's very similar to what I just described. But at the same time, it's all relative. I have a high threshold for pain, so homelessness didn't seem like a big deal to me. You know,
right?
Like,
and we do the rock bottom comparisons to justify. Yeah. You know, we're like, well, it's not as bad as that guy,
and you keep going lower. Every basement has a trap door. You know?
Yeah, you're right. I would say don't ever compare. It's all about you.
It's really how you feel in that moment. That's and that's what I mean by it's all relative, because one person's I can't believe this is happening to me is different from somebody else's.
And it's about your physical danger and also what are you hiding emotionally? What are you repressing?
100%. You know? What do you?
So I did that. I did the outpatient rehab. It's tough. I mean, it was tough. Like my dad would come sometimes, people would talk, you draw your feelings. I mean, it can feel, it can feel embarrassing, you know, which is part of it.
Sure. But I mean, everybody in those rooms are there for the same reason.
Yes. But you do feel open, like everyone can see you.
Yeah, it's not a fun feeling.
But I will say, when you get there, it allows you to be less judgmental of others because you've gotten to that place, you know, where you're just kind of transparent, you know, everyone can see your, you know, issues, you know.
For me, going through that process was like almost relieving, because I thought I was the only one that felt that way. You know, I thought I was the only one that struggled like that, or, you know, I thought everybody else was holding it together out there, you know, because for the most part, I didn't grow up around, fall down drunks or anything along those lines, right? Like I just, I don't have any of my friends that I grew up with that were anything like me in that regard. And so to get to a place where, like you said, where people aren't judging you because they also have been there too. Like, I don't know. I developed a great deal of empathy at that point.
No, me too. I think I first had a little Adderall snobbery. Like, I don't deserve to be here.
No, of course. I think I did that too, right? I only drank.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone does that.
I only had martinis.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys are taking toilet water and shooting heroin.
There's always someone you can be like, he's got it bad. Overall, it was good, and it was hard. I did wean off, which I personally did was good for me.
Yeah, the taper.
Now, for that to work, I had to have like my parents give it to me and everyone know, and accountability.
Yeah.
Accountability at first can feel very like you're a child.
I agree with that. But at the same time, structure and accountability was something that I actually craved that as well.
It's very helpful. I don't mean to dismiss it. I think the feeling of like a child is, but you fight through that, get to something. It's also important.
Yeah. Mommy, is it time for my dose at 4 p.m.?
It's actually the opposite of being a child. The child is the one hiding it and stuff, but I guess you're so in denial before that when you're actually being an adult by saying, I have a problem.
Right.
Help me.
Yeah.
That's what an adult is, right? I have a problem. Help me.
Yeah.
That can at first feel like you're being a child or you're like failing, but it's actually an important moment of honesty.
It's a weird concept to surrender but win.
Yeah, exactly. And it's basically, I have a problem, help me, know. And it's tough, but it did help, and it did help like getting up early and going there.
Mm-hmm. Give you something to do. Waking up early, which I'd never done. And then so I did that for a while, and the guy who ran it was good. I weaned off kind of each week. And I do think I did it more over a couple, like I did relapse a couple times, but not to like a huge degree. Right.
And then eventually, now I was a drinker. I don't think I was like, I'm Jewish, so alcohol just makes me tired, It's kind of like a little, but
it's melatonin.
Yeah, but I, you mix it with Adderall, it's pretty good. You can drink all night.
It's amazing.
It was like kind of a loophole.
Yep.
First I quit Adderall that way. And then I went to the AA some, and I found it helpful. My mom went to Al-Anon. I think she went to it past me going to AA, which is really codependent. I wasn't even AA.
It's so funny. That's the first thing that I thought of when you were when I was trying to get the pronunciation of your name out there. It's like
Raanan.
Al-Anon. Al-Anon. It sounds like a self-help program.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for people with raw. I don't know what raw is, but we need Raanan.
Yeah. Raw dogging it, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
But so I went to AA. I liked it. It's not something I do religiously. I hope that's okay.
100%.
I don't know what.
Listen, no, there's no right or wrong answer. All we're doing is talking about the fact that you went through something and now you're crushing.
I think it helps a lot of people, and I definitely like going to the ones where it's mostly black people. Those are way more interesting. I just hearing them talk. So I quit that, and then had to learn how to write again without it, which was hard, but I did.
Did you feel like it took a while to get your brain back? I've heard, because I can't say that I've experienced the Adderall thing, but I also know you had benzos too. Your neural pathways, right? You get ingrained these neural pathways, and then you have to almost like rethink and rewire your brain.
Definitely.
Right? And so, did you feel like you were in a fog for a while?
I felt a little like that. I felt like a fog. I think one thing Adderall did for me is I had low self-esteem, and creatively, when Adderall gave me the high self-esteem, I would write more, because typically writer's block is low self-esteem.
Interesting.
Like, I suck. I can't do this. If you feel great, you can write all day because you don't have that low self-esteem. So I had to write through low self-esteem, which is actually like kind of the honest process in a way.
So did your comedy get a little dark for a while, or?
My comedy was pretty dark before. I think it became more, performance wise, it got a lot better. I will say, if anyone's listening.
Well, you remembered everything.
I remember everything. And also if anyone's listening who's a comedian who drinks, you might think you're performing confidently on stage, but you're not. It's actually like you might feel confident, but you actually don't look confident. Your rhythm's off. And you think you're avoiding this nervousness of being sober, but you actually look way more insecure having to drink to, you know what I mean? To avoid, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And someone told me something once, a comedian, Nicholas Anthony, and it really stuck with me. And this is applicable to other stuff too. He said, like, when you drink and then you go on stage, you prevent yourself from feeling the natural high of performing.
Wow.
Because you've numbed your feelings. So you might feel good right before you get on stage.
Yep.
But then you don't get that high from connecting to the audience.
Yeah.
So you've deprived, and that was
which is
very
important
helpful.
because improv is a big form of comedy too. And so you might be missing some big moments.
Yes. And you're missing that, you know, it's called like the zone, you know, like they talk about it in what's that Pixar movie, Soul, anything, whether it's sports, art, it's like, I assume most people don't do sports drunk, but like that zone where you're like, lose yourself for a minute. It happens in comedy, it happens in music. If you're drunk, you don't get to feel that you might feel good right before you get on stage. Not being drunk, you feel shitty. You might feel shitty right before you get on stage. But once you get that thing, that's like a real dopamine reward.
Absolutely.
And you've
naturally.
A natural one. And you've numbed yourself from that.
Yeah. Which
is a good way of thinking about it, because that's a way of thinking about rejecting it keeps you from feeling really positive emotions, which is a good way. I think positive reinforcement is always
100%. There's a lot of self-deprecation in humor too, right? And so, you know, there's that aspect of it, but that could get like super depressing as well when, like, you know, if you're feeding off the crowd, I mean, that's the ultimate high, right?
Yeah, it's the ultimate high. And it's actually better if you feel nervous beforehand. Feeling nervous beforehand and then having that moment, this relief washes over you. And you perform better. When you're nervous, you actually letting yourself feel the nerves, you perform better because you have actually more energy.
Interesting.
Like nervousness can actually look, I mean, obviously in the beginning you just look nervous, but after a while you learn how you just feel nervous, but it actually can look pretty good.
Nervous could be adrenaline too, right?
It's adrenaline.
Yeah.
So when you drink, you're depriving yourself of that energy you get from the adrenaline.
Yeah.
So that really stuck with me. So, and that became the drug I really was after, this drug of
making people laugh and
making people laugh and for losing myself.
Sure.
Which is hard. It's hard in comedy. A lot of times you're on stage and you're in your
it doesn't happen every time, right?
No, not at all. It's like sailing. You catch the wind every once in a while.
It's like golfing.
Yeah.
You hit par every once in a while.
Exactly. It definitely doesn't happen if you're drunk. Because you're not like
present.
You're not present. But when it happens, it's pretty great. And it's definitely what you try to do. I think with comedians too, like even if I get the audience laughing, if I'm in my head the whole time, I kind of say that show sucked. People be like, well, people are laughing with a good show. But it's actually about me trying to be present. That's what I'm trying to achieve up there. Yeah. It's actually fairly selfish. I'm trying to achieve presence up there.
Yeah. I don't think that's selfish. I think that's part of the reason why you like doing what you're doing, because you're an entertainer.
Yeah.
Right. And so getting that feeling means you accomplish your goal.
And it's better for the audience.
Agreed.
When it happens. It is rare. Like when it happens, it's great. And it can only happen if you're sober. It is rare, but and you get it every once in a while. It's this feeling of like really losing yourself. And the worst feeling in comedy is when you're on stage just watching yourself tell jokes.
Like out of body?
Yeah, just like, all right, there's that. That, like, it's such a shitty feeling. It doesn't just happen when you bomb. It happens other times. But that's actually what I consider a bad set. I actually consider a bad set a set where I'm kind of like just in my head, whether the audience, you know.
You may not be getting the reactions that you were hoping for, right? Or like expectations.
Yeah, exactly. When you're in that place, see, when you're in the zone, you've fallen out of the ego, right? You're just a pure receptor.
Wow.
And you're not thinking about anything.
Wow.
But when you're in your head, you're keeping score.
Yeah.
You're like, that joke got a better laugh last week. That joke could have done better.
I love that you said something about the ego right there too, because, you know, in like there's a tremendous amount of ego death that needs to happen, in my opinion, for people to actually get sober.
Yeah.
You're saying that you also have to have that ego get removed in order to experience that high of what you're doing.
Right, because you're no longer nervous, which is part of ego, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do bad. I'm going to look bad. Ego is my self-worth is on the line.
Mm-hmm.
Ego death is I'm like having fun up there and it's a reception and I'm just purely receiving. I'm not thinking about what I'm saying. It's just coming out of me.
Profound, dude.
That's what I'm hoping to have there every once in a while. And you can't get that when you're drunk.
Yeah. So this is what, about, you said 12, 13, 14 years ago?
Yeah. So after that, about that. And then I
just picked a sober lifestyle?
It was slowly. So I quit the Adderall. I was still drinking at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Then I quit cigarettes.
Well, you look like a Marlboro Light guy. Did I get that right?
Yeah, I was like that for a while. I think I did Camel too some, but I think I was Marlboro Light. I was like a pack and a half a day.
Nice.
It was a lot.
Yeah, that seems to be very common when people are stopping, or even when they're on drugs.
Well, I was on it doing it too.
Yeah,
but yeah.
no, I don't get me wrong. When I drank, I had to have a cigarette.
I know, and one of the reasons I don't go back to Adderall is because I actually think I would pick up cigarettes again.
I believe that.
That like keeps me from doing it too.
Good, whatever it takes.
Yeah, because cigarettes. Yeah. So what happened was I was actually visiting my niece. She was just born, and when you smoke, your fucking siblings treat you like a fucking leper. They're like, if you come meet the baby, you're gonna have to wash your hands. You're gonna have to take a shower. You're gonna have to go through a biohazard thing. So I was just sick of being treated like a leper. So I remember I had my last cigarette on the flight to go see my niece when she was born, and I switched to Nicorette.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone was cigarette, my process, which is different for everyone, is I'm big into weaning off. My process was cigarettes to Nicorette gum, and then eventually I went from Nicorette gum to just regular gum, and I take packs of like disgusting amount of regular gum. But by the point I got to that, now I just had to kick regular gum.
Yeah.
So it was an okay place.
You're not gonna. I'm pretty sure as long as it was sugar free, it's not not a lot of harm going on.
But it's still. I took a shit ton. Like I would take a whole pack in like a couple minutes.
Were you a minty guy? Were you a fruity guy?
Like the red kind,
Cinnamon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I quit that. Then I went to New York and started doing comedy in New York. And I was still drinking a little, but I remember my doctor said I had fatty liver disease.
Wow.
Which feels like you're being made fun of. And
Fuck you, pal.
Yeah, I feel like I was being roasted,
Yeah.
You have little bitch scoliosis, and they said if I quit drinking, I'd stop having it. So I quit drinking, and honestly, drinking wasn't as big a problem for me, and I mainly didn't want to go back to drinking because I didn't want to gain the weight back. I lost a bunch of weight. You know that weight you lose when you quit drinking?
No, I don't know anything about that.
But, I lost the weight from drinking, and I didn't want to drink again because I was afraid it'd come back.
I get it.
And then I just gained it back naturally.
Yeah.
But so I quit drinking. From there,
Now you just live this sober lifestyle, and tell me a little bit about the comedy. I mean, obviously your career has taken off since, right? I mean, at what point did some of these cool things start happening to you? I mean, you were on Jimmy Fallon, you were on The Late Show, The Tonight Show, James Corden, you went on Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I mean, I think once I stopped drinking, I started to really focus, work hard. Now, working hard also can be a little
addicting.
Addicting.
There it is.
Yeah. But I definitely was more focused, and I was more present on stage and more organized. And yeah, I mean, I think that was a big part of it for sure. I mean, that was a big part of I remember someone else said, maybe it was Mike Lawrence or someone said, when he went to New York, he quit drinking because he wanted to just take it, give it your all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have to give it your all in this
you
business.
do.
And to me, it was like drinking still wouldn't be giving it my all, And so, I became, I just kind of became a sober person. I mean, it's tough sometimes, I don't say I love you as much.
Interesting.
Because I don't drink.
No, everything. I love you, man.
But I hate that shit now. Honestly, the best way to the best way to keep from drinking is just be sober and see drunk people sober, and you'll just hate it. I really have such little tolerance for really drunk people.
Yeah,
now.
disdain, right?
Well, it's just you're not going to remember it. Only I am. And it's
They're usually being a dick.
Yeah. It's also fake sentimentality. It's not earned. like when you're drunk and you're like loving everyone, it's not earned. And I also felt that with drugs. Drugs is
There's
like
nothing sincere about
it's
it.
not sincere. And drugs is like sex, where it makes you hang out with people you wouldn't hang out with normally.
Fuck
you know.
yeah.
So like I'm definitely more choosy about friends now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I ended up going from like this, like, well, I'll be friends with whoever's high. Now I'm a little very picky, and if anyone's like a little annoying, I'm like, I can't deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
But so I've definitely maybe overcorrected the other way at times.
Oh,
but,
well. Small circles aren't a bad thing.
yeah, but no, it's definitely been good for me. I mean, I then tried to get off antidepressants, and that was a problem.
Yeah.
That fucked me up a little, so I had to get back on them. So I'm still on that.
Well, listen, whatever anybody's got to do, right? I mean, mental health is a real big deal these days. I mean, it's also a crisis that nobody talks about very much.
Yeah, I mean, I was on Paxil, and I was like, you know what? I get rid of everything else. I get rid of this too, but I went too far. I needed the Paxil.
Well, I'm glad you're figuring out the chemical imbalance, right?
Yeah. But I definitely think. I think what ultimately helped is wanting to really pursue comedy.
Mm-hmm.
I think the purpose. I think having a purpose and realizing that the drugs and alcohol will actually get in the way of that.
Purpose is so important in life, I think, in general. If you can harness and figure out what your purpose is and dedicate and figure out a way to pursue that, not only will you be happier with what you're doing probably in life, but the chances of you being more successful at it because you're doing something you love. So I started drinking at such a young age that all my friends are like, I'm going to be a police officer. I'm going to be a lawyer. I'm going to be this. I'm going to be that. And I was like, dude, I just want to drink, like that. I mean, I didn't have any goals at that point. Like I had no ambition, zero anything. I fell into a decent job in finance, worked that for a little while until I got so drunk that I couldn't show up for work,
Yeah, and it's really hard to ask someone to be sober if they don't feel like they have purpose, because what's the point?
Well, that's the thing is,
Yeah.
life is very mundane if you don't know what your purpose is, right? You feel lost as hell.
Right, and then pain is worse. What is the phrase? I think it's Nietzsche. It's like, as long as there's a why, you can deal with any how. Wait, is that it?
Yeah, no, it's paraphrased, but absolutely,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
it.
If you have a goal, then you can deal with the hard parts a lot easier.
Absolutely.
Because you have a future. But yeah, I mean, I'd say for me, definitely having a purpose and having a goal, which, to be fair, I did have before it got sidetracked. I thought I convinced myself the alcohol and drugs was good for that goal.
Yeah.
Which is the problem. It's
Yeah.
not so simple.
That's how the story started, right?
Yeah. You can easily convince yourself that helps the goal. But once you start to see that that's not true in your case, and it has to be your case. It can't be, you can't judge others. It has to be for you. But once you see that's not true and that it gets in the way of that then you can, then it becomes easier.
1,000%. If you're under the influence for a significant period of your career, right? And then all of a sudden you're not, and it took a little while for your brain to come back. At what point did you start getting into is it when you moved to New York and started surrounding yourself with some other comics? Like, when was like the big break? I want to hear the big break.
Definitely New York. Moving to New York and seeing how good everyone was. I mean, there's still a lot of people suck in New York, but I go to a show and I'd be jealous of everyone on the show I just started, but then I'd be like, that guy sucks. I'm better than him. And I'd say that for everyone, but then there'd always be one guy on the show that made me want to quit. And I didn't get that in like Louisville,
Yeah.
So seeing that.
Wait, real quick. When you say make me want to quit because they were so bad or so good?
So good.
Oh.
So good.
Because you're like, I'll never be that.
Or I'm like, fuck, yeah. Like I got to work a lot harder. So I think that really helped. Yeah, definitely moving to New York.
So you started collaborating with a bunch of comedians, and I know we were talking a little bit before the podcast started, but I kind of I came into the conversation a little late, but you had started touring and everything like with Louis and
at the end of Louisville, once I was sober, I started opening for Kathleen Madigan on the road. It's a really great comic, and I made enough money from that to move to New York. And then once I moved to New York, a lot of people I knew from the road, like Sam Morrill and Joe List, really helped. I got into the Cellar. I did Corden. I think I I started knocking on doors and really, realizing like you can't.
People started talking.
Yeah, and you can't just wait for shit to happen. You have to like knock on doors.
Sure.
And so I started doing that. I started, asking people for shit if I knew it was the right time, not delusionally, but like people I was friends with. And yeah, I did Corden, and then the world ended. And then I came back and did Fallon. And
so Corden and then COVID, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, COVID happened right after Corden.
Okay.
And then, it's just kind of slowly, it's slowly just.
It's still on a very upward trend.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely have a lot of, a lot of work to do. And, I have a bit of a fan base, which I'm grateful for, but definitely could be bigger.
I think it is. I think it's growing every day, to be honest with you. I mean, I was stoked when I heard that you were willing to come on, because I feel like we're getting you at a good point in your career. I see bright things for you, and you're on the path. And this is ultimately what the podcast is all about, is like these comebacks, right? Like, so you had faced adversity and then kind of have a story that's worth telling, in the sense that like it inspires hope, right?
No, I think I got actual confidence, not alcohol confidence.
Yeah.
Like, alcohol is a fake sense of confidence.
1,000%.
Because I was drunk and acting cocky, but I was also afraid to leave Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
So I think once I got sober, I actually built the confidence to like move to New York, which was hard. And I certainly didn't feel confident.
Mm-hmm.
I felt very insecure, but that actually is kind of.
Well, like you were saying, like being nervous. It's a sign of like, being present.
Exactly. And putting yourself in a position where you're uncomfortable is confidence.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like confidence.
It's the bravest thing you can do, though.
It's the bravest thing you can do. While being drunk and not putting yourself in that position might make you feel cocky, but you're not really being confident.
No, it's liquid courage.
Liquid courage. So I think that was a big thing. That was a big part of it.
It's like walking through fear.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a big thing we all have to deal with in recovery, is walking through fear. It's like, I enjoy adversity. I enjoy challenge, because once you get on the other side of it, like technically it's like, I'm not going to die from it. It's like, what's the worst that can happen? Like, so I'm nervous about it and I don't want to do it. And I'm not looking forward to it. But when I feel that, I know in my heart, it's an opportunity for growth.
Exactly. And the more you put yourself in uncomfortable positions, which you can only really put yourself in if you're sober,
100%,
the more you're growing.
Yeah.
And it feels, so it's good to feel nervous. It's good to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. You must have been nervous as heck going on these shows. You did Rogan just about 6 or 10 or
7, 8 months ago. Yeah, I mean, I was definitely nervous doing the Tonight Show and all those sets.
That's millions of people watching, bud.
Yeah, it's nerve wracking. And then the more you do it, the more the nice thing about nervousness, the more you do something, you're always nervous for the new experience. So as long as the more you do something and it's no longer new, you're no longer as nervous for it. So it's really about just getting to the next new experience and making that familiar.
And there's also a great deal of just even being comfortable with yourself, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like learning how to just be yourself and be okay and know that you're okay and worth it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know about you, but like in the beginning when I was getting sober, it seemed like, you get compliments, but you don't necessarily believe the people that are complimenting you. But at this point in your career, I imagine the compliments have come and you're like, maybe I actually am really funny,
Yeah, I definitely have more self-esteem. I think for years I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And even when I got sober, I didn't, because it's still
in
there.
the beginning. Yeah, absolutely.
I think eventually I've done it long enough where I went from, I don't really question my abilities as much anymore. I actually question my career, but not my self-worth as much. I mean, I guess that's also self-worth, but I guess what I'm saying is I don't really as much go anymore. Am I funny? I go more like, how do I get better? Or how do I do better in my career? So it's like, it's still an insecurity, but I guess it's moved on from the question of whether I'm funny. While before, I think that really was, something I didn't know.
This segment of the Pull Podcast is brought to you by Creekside Recovery. What's a day for Raanan look like?
I wake up, I take a bath.
No shit? You're a bath guy?
Yeah, I take a bath. That might be what replaced drugs.
Okay.
I take a bath. I read in the bath for like an hour.
Wow.
And then I do writing, a mix of like writing and promotion.
Mm-hmm.
There's like the work bullshit. I try to write But then there's also the work bullshit, the promotion, all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually, I'll do a set at night if I'm in the city, if I have a spot. And then I'm back with my wife watching SVU.
And you just got married.
I just got married. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's amazing. So wait, 4 days or 4 weeks?
We got married Sunday.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder why. She's probably like, why do you have to go work now, right?
Yeah. But she's, she's used to it. Yeah. I actually left. My parents are still there.
Okay.
I left for her with my parents.
Oh, boy. The in-laws?
Yeah, they came there and they're here for like 2 weeks.
Oh, boy. You plan to do a honeymoon in Aruba, it sounds like?
Yeah, in July.
What's the show you were talking about in Aruba?
This comic, Ray, called Aruba Ray, has a comedy club there.
Nice.
And it's a good comedy club, yeah. It's fun.
And he brings you in like once a year?
Honestly, like every 6 months. Yeah.
So twice a year?
Yeah, twice a year. And yeah, it's fun. It's a cool city. And we get, or not even a city. I don't know what it is. Island, town, or province. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's cool. And I go with my girl. That's one of the trips she goes with me on. She doesn't go to me to like Cleveland or anything, but if it's a nice place.
Cleveland. I shouldn't even ask why you picked that city to name.
I'm actually going there in a couple weeks.
Are you?
But yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully. Well, luckily this won't come out before then.
Yeah.
So you'll be still welcomed with warmly, I hope.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's hilarious. So do you have a lot of tours set up right now, or are you?
Yeah.
Any specials coming out you want to promote?
I recorded a special a month ago, and we're still editing it. Hopefully it'll come out in the fall.
Okay.
So keep updated on that.
Yeah, we'll look out for it.
And
is it through like Netflix, or is it?
I'll shop it around and see what happens.
Where was it shot at?
This place called, I shot the last two at Comedy Cellar. I wanted to change, so I shot this one at this new club called Sesh. Really cool club in the Lower East Side.
Nice.
And I'll have that out in a couple months, just doing the editing and just on the road working out new material.
Yeah. Well, listen, I know you're a busy guy, and the fact that you were able to come take some time out of your day to come talk to us, especially about maybe something that you're not used to doing on a podcast, right? This is a little bit different than maybe some of the podcasts you've been on before.
Yeah, definitely went a little.
I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah.
But I credit all my success to my sobriety. The little success I have, but it's still success to me, right? I still feel good today. But I have a feeling, but please confirm it for me, that your career wouldn't be what it would be if you were still drinking and using.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it wouldn't be. It would. I don't even. It's hard to even fathom. Like, it's hard to even know how much it's helped. But it's basically like I kind of in a way began my creative development once I was sober. You know what I mean? Like, it's like everything before that was unharnessed and no discipline, and like just, everything before that might have been talent mixed in with this, but the hard work, which is kind of the part of being an artist that's necessary.
Yeah. Cadence.
Yeah.
Stage presence.
And being aware of what you're doing, listening, getting better, all that only began once I was sober.
Yeah.
And that's such a huge part of it. Like, especially with comedy, you can't just go up all the time. You have to listen to what you did. You have to like listen to the recording, take notes. And I wasn't doing that when I was drunk. So it really, not only do I owe it to it, I think it didn't really begin until I got sober.
You hear that, listeners? I mean, it's important. I truly believe that being sober is an untapped superpower. And I appreciate the fact that from something so grim, something beautiful could come out of it. And so that's sort of the whole idea of seeing people with a platform that are able to discuss their similar problems, right?
Yeah. And I think, exactly. And I think positive reinforcement is true. I think sobriety is better, In a way, maybe the best way to say it is drugs feel good, but sobriety feels even better.
I love that. That's actually a wonderful way to end the podcast. Again, I just want to thank you. I think you're a wonderful person, and I love following you, and I can't wait for your show to come out later, and we'll stay in touch. And
thank you. This is a blast. Thanks so much for having me.